And to be a good sponge, you can't be prideful. You can't. You have to be a little bit self-loathing and be like, I suck. You can't win. I talked about that last episode. You can't win. I don't really believe you can win at life. You can't win at fitness, but you can be winning and you can be losing. People get let down in life when their expectations don't meet their reality. If you want to win in every single area of your life, let me share with you 4 main things that have absolutely transformed my life, that have got me to win more in more areas than I ever thought possible over the last couple of years that I've been the owner of Pursuit Health and Performance. What's up, guys? My name is Stefan Coons. As I said, I'm the owner of Pursuit Health and Performance. We are an online fitness and nutrition company that help everyday heroes get fit for duty and life. And I want to share with you these 4 things because this is episode 100. That means I've been sitting here. Well, I've actually recorded a little bit more, but 100 times. And that might not seem like a lot, but it's a lot of hours put into this podcast. So if you could show me some love, if you've listened to any, if this is your first, I would really appreciate it if you could like, comment, subscribe, even give this a rating, a review, and share this episode because that's the only way that it can get around. But let's dive in. So to give you some backstory, I've been in the fitness industry about 13 years. But in 2021, I would say probably May of 2021, I really went full-time into online coaching, and I started this company, Pursuit Health and Performance. And part of the reason that I started it was because I wanted to set a vision for myself, and that vision was me not being where I currently was. I wasn't in a bad spot. In fact, I graduated in from Arizona State University in May of 2020 when all the gyms shut down. So for about a year and a half, I had to be a project manager, and I had to dive into that realm that I didn't know what to do. And during that time, I actually ended up being really good at the job. I had a good salary, actually a lot more than I was making in the military. My wife was going to nursing school. Like, we were going to be set up pretty good, like making good money. I was training people out of the garage. Like, I didn't have to start this, but there was a little voice inside of me, and I've talked about this in some episodes, that literally told me, like, this isn't your calling. And for me, I feel like it was God just saying, this isn't what you're supposed to do. You're good where you're at. Like, this is part of the journey, but that's not what you're meant to do. It's not what you're meant to do. And I knew it. And so I ended up going basically dove in first. I spent a lot of money that I kind of didn't have on a business coach because I wanted to learn all the ins and outs. I didn't want to waste time, trial and error. In fact, the last episode was about optimizing your time. I didn't want to go start a business and have it fail and not know what to do. So I just paid a coach a bunch of money to be like, hey, I've created a successful online health and fitness company. Let me show you what to do, how to set it up, how to run it, how to be effective. Obviously, I have to still be a good coach and be me, but that was one of the best decisions I've ever had. And the reason I'm telling you a little bit of backstory is because I was in a position where I could have chose to stay comfortable. I could have chose to just be like, I'm good. And everybody around me was praising me. Hey, you're so successful. I'm glad you're doing well at your job. I'm glad you graduated with your degree and all this. I'm like, I could have just had everybody around me give me confirmation bias and give me a pat on the back. And I had to choose to take the leap to be uncomfortable and not be where I'm at. And I know a lot of you guys have to do that in your fitness journey. Maybe you've just accepted where you're at in your life in all sorts of areas, your marriage, your finances, your fitness, and everybody around you is just okay with it. Nobody's calling you out. You could stay like this forever. Your family will love you. Your friends will love you, which they should. They'll accept you, but nobody's pushing you and pushing your boundaries. And there's really 3 things in my life that has probably, and I'm gonna lay out these 4 main things that have completely transformed my life. But here's the areas that I kind of got these from over the year. Number 1 was serving my country. Okay. I was active duty Air Force for 5 years. During that time, I got to deploy to Afghanistan. And if you've been in the military or you're a firefighter, cop, nurse, whatever, you understand putting the mission before yourself. Okay. You understand what that is. You understand being a part of something bigger. You understand camaraderie. You understand getting uncomfortable to make sure you execute and get the mission done. Okay. The next thing is over the last couple of years, which I really started like owning my own business in 2015, but this this one, the one that actually stuck and was successful, because I had lots of failures before, guys, but I didn't give up. 3 years in, growing and scaling my business has been probably one of the hardest things I've done, especially because I've had a family and it's really hard to work all the time, 6-7 days a week, long hours, the stress of owning a business, managing people, growing, being in this kind of new realm of figuring out how to do like digital marketing and all this stuff. And now we have clients in 40 states, over 250 clients, a couple different countries. There's a lot going on in the business. Okay. And then the third thing, which is, this is not in order of importance, is being a dad and a husband. And that has taught me a lot. If you don't know, I was a dad when I was 19 years old. I'm now 33 and a half. So I've been a parent my entire adult life. Okay. And it's helped mold me into the man I am today. And it's helped me become a less selfless person. I'm giving you that backstory because these things, I'm going to tie it in. Okay. So the number one thing is I've learned to let down my pride and be a sponge. And I will say, a little side note, all of our clients that joined, they did the same thing. And I did the same thing when I hired a business coach. I said, I know some stuff, but I don't know enough. Will you please help me? And can I please pay you to help me? That's not an easy thing to do, especially as a man. We tend to be prideful, some women too. But the men I know are like, I could do it by myself. That's how my dad was. Love my dad. I grew up where he's like, be in the grocery store lost, not wanting to ask anybody for help because he's like, I'll figure it out. Wandering around there 30 minutes, wasting his time when he could have just asked somebody. We're guys, we're generally prideful. And it's hard to do that. But if you can let down your pride and be a freaking sponge, you will get further in life than you can ever imagine. I've grown at what most people would consider a very successful online coaching business that continues to grow. I'm super excited to see where it'll be in a couple of years. And I've worked my ass off 100,000%, but I've also learned from people that are better than me. And I never want to be the smartest person in the room, because here's the thing. There's always somebody more rich, better looking, funnier, like on the other level of where you want to be. It's better to just sit there and be kind to that person and learn from them, because just like I talked about in episode 99, you buy back your time. Instead of saying, how do I get in shape, and figuring it out over 5 years and not really having the results you want? What if you just got a good coach and you could do that in 1 year? Okay. So I knew that if I could be a sponge, and to be a good sponge, you can't be prideful. You can't. You have to be a little bit self-loathing and be like, I suck. I'm not good. I mean, like, obviously I want to be a confident person, but I really had to lower myself because I tend to be a leader and a type A, and it's really hard for me to take instruction and criticism. I've had people review my sales calls and stuff that like tore me apart. And my initial reaction is like to get angry, right? To get defensive. But I had to take that constructive criticism and just be like, oh, it sucks to suck, but like, thank you for being so brutally honest. That stings, but I like it because now I can improve. And I've even had some of these talks with our current clients. I'm like, please tell me when the business sucks. Please tell me in an area. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I need it to grow. I thrive off of being a sponge. I thrive off of letting down my pride. I love it. Please tell me I suck, because now I can improve. Okay. You need to do that in areas of your life. And I could tell you right now that I did that when I was in the military. And even though I was only in for 5 years, I got some accolades. I got some rewards. I got a lot of positive feedback because I learned really early on, even though I was a confident go-getter type A, let's freaking crush it. I also was like, I'm nothing and I need to learn. Okay. Also with growing my business, obviously I've been like that since day one. I'm still like that. And sometimes when you get a little cocky, you got to check yourself and understand that, excuse my language, but you ain't shit. And I have to do that to myself all the time, but it's a dichotomy, which means two things can exist at the same time. I tell myself, hey, Stefan, you ain't all that in a bag of chips, but you're also doing great. And no, it's weird. It's the same thing when you're like, I'm glad where I'm at with my life right now, but I'm not fully satisfied because I know I can do more. Again, two things I believe can exist at the same time. You can be satisfied, but you can want more. Just like I understand that I am doing great, but I also am so far away from my goal, which makes it exciting because that's the work. That's that middle stuff, right? So again, let down your pride, be a sponge. I guarantee you, if you do that, you'll excel in every area: your marriage, your finances, your parenting, your career, your faith, because there's always somebody that is way beyond you in wisdom and time, in better processes, better systems. And so I start to look for people that I can look up to, because that's how I'm going to grow as a man, right? The second thing is having a bigger purpose than yourself. Guess what? All three of those things, serving my country, having this business, and being a parent and a husband, have taught me that, right? And here's something to think about. People will take bullets for those they love. Like kind of the mama bear, papa bear, like I will literally die. People will actually do that, and they will work harder for somebody else than they will themselves. Most people inherently wouldn't put themselves in harm's way, but if it was to protect somebody else, they will. If you're a cop, if you're a firefighter, if you serve, if you're part of this community, you do it every day. You generally don't just run in burning houses on your days off, right? I'm not saying you wouldn't, but like if it means that your life is sacrificed for somebody else's, you took the oath, you're a badass, you're commendable, but why? It's a bigger purpose than yourself. And we always, always, always work harder when the why is bigger than us. And I tell people when they join our program and they go to get in shape that if you can have something beyond, I just want to have abs, but why? Why? What are the abs going to do? My confidence. Great. What is the increased confidence going to do? I'm going to date this person. Great. What's the importance of dating them? We're peeling back the onion. We're finding out the why, because if purpose can be deep, and especially if it could be beyond you, you're way more likely to work hard. Why do you think soldiers go die for their country, right? The purpose is it's almost honorable, right? Because as much as we don't wish it, it's like you're putting that mission before yourself, and understand that you will work harder. So you can even have a family mission, right? I've had this conversation with my clients. I want to dive in too deep, but like your mission, let's say you have like a family and it's you and your spouse and your kids, and you're an unhealthy family kind of. You can make that mission about, hey, I'm changing the lineage of whatever your last name is. For me, Coons. I'm changing the lineage of the Coons family, and I'm going to make it different. And the kids that I have are going to learn different and do this. And I'm actually doing this with my family. By the way, I'm the only entrepreneur. I'm the only business owner. I'm the only fit one out of all my dad's side of the family. The only one. I'm the black sheep. Well, black wolf, whatever you want to call it. I say black wolf because not the black sheep, a black wolf. And I'm setting a new pathway. I've decided that. So my mission and my vision is bigger than me. I owe it to my son. I owe it to both my sons. I owe it to their sons. I owe it to everybody that comes down the line, because I'm blessed with these abilities. And if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to freaking do it. And it takes a lot of courage to cultivate that mindset. This isn't me rah-rahing myself. I'm just saying that I understood that I'll work harder if it's not just about me. Do you know how many days I want to give up? Like realistically, do you know how many days I just want to throw in the freaking towel of life? I'm not saying that as in like depressed or suicidal, but just like, dude, life is freaking hard. Like I just don't, like some days I'm like, I don't want to do it. But the next day I'm like, everybody's depending on you. Now the people like my sons, my wife, my friends and family are looking at me as a leader, all those things. That's why I love being in the leadership position, because every time I want to quit, I can't. I would let so many people down. And a lot of people try to do their fitness journey and they have no accountability. They don't tell anybody. They have no purpose besides themselves. They go to the gym for 3 days. It gets hard. They get tired and they stop. And nobody knows. Nobody knows. So they're not letting anybody down besides themselves. Not a big deal because you let yourself down all the time. Whoop-de-doo. You've done it a million times. You're not hurting anybody's feelings. But what if it was different? What if you had a purpose and you're like, man, if I quit now, I'm letting everybody down. Good. The more you have that, the more successful you'll be, okay? Just understand that, right? Have that bigger purpose than yourself. The third thing, understand and accept that big goals are hard. They're supposed to be brutally challenging, and that's what makes them worth achieving. Let me say that again. Understand that big goals, they're supposed to be very hard. In fact, the more brutally challenging the goal is, makes it more worth achieving. Let's check this out. Losing weight. Yes, you could do it through surgery. You could do it through a pill. But when you work your ass off for 1 to 2 years and you put in the blood, sweat, equity, and freaking tears into your journey, here's the thing. People think when they lose weight, it's just like, I look good. No, it is the person and the personality that you cultivate along the way that changes you. It is not the body. And I've seen people in our clients lose 75 plus pounds in our program. Some of them in a year, they are a different person. I firmly believe 1,000,000% if that person would have got weight loss surgery or would have took a pill to lose that weight, they wouldn't have changed. It would have been the same person looking for quick fixes, not producing any grit, not changing, not learning to deal with adversity, they'd have been the same soft ass person, not getting the results they want. But they're not. They're a better, and I've done interviews with these people. They say, I'm a better spouse. I'm a better father. I'm better at work. I'm better to myself. I have positive conversations in my head because they had to put in the work. And they understood that it was going to be hard, and it should be, because hard things produce grit. And that's number 4. You should cultivate grit, and you should be in constant pursuit, okay, of achieving your goals, which is why I named my company Pursuit. And a little side tangent, I had a long time to think about what I wanted to name my company when I started. Like, should I call it like Elite Fitness or, First Responder Fitness, or, it used to be called SK Fitness, just my name. And I realized, Stephen Coons and my initials, I'm like, it can't be about me. The vision I have can't be about me. It has to be about others. So I changed it to Pursuit because of literally this podcast-ish, and understood that like my life's journey and other people's is just being in constant pursuit. You can't win. I talked about that last episode. You can't win. I don't really believe you can win at life. You can't win at fitness, but you can be winning and you can be losing, right? Because it's a continuum. And so my thing is, if I know this from all the years I've been alive, I'm still young, I know, but if I can cultivate grit and just be in constant pursuit of my goals, everything I believe will take care of itself. And guess what, guys? That is really easy in this world because we are becoming very quickly, especially in the US, soft ass world. People are scared of hard work. People are scared of putting in the work and grinding and having grit. We're raising, and I know because I have a teenager and a baby, we're raising a new society, I believe, that is catered to and coddled and a little softer. And although there's been some great, awesome things, and every generation has its issues, I think even if you are like 30 to 40 years old right now, maybe you're a little bit younger, I think that if you can have grit and just like not give up, then you'll just win. You'll win. You'll win over other people for sure. Because your competition, I'm not saying you should try to just stomp everybody out, but your competition are people that are just not willing to work hard. We're creating a society that is built on comfort and convenience. And so the opposite of that is, think about it, is discomfort and patience. Let me say that again. We're of a society that's built on comfort and convenience, right? Everybody wants comfortable. Everybody wants it right now. So all you have to do is just the opposite, is choose to be uncomfortable and patient. Okay. So if you can cultivate some freaking grit and you can just be in constant pursuit every day, putting in the work, which I know is not easy, you'll win. You'll work harder. And I honestly believe that if you can have those four things, you'll be successful. It has completely transformed my life. And I've always kind of had them at some capacity, but the last 3 years specifically in business, I keep telling myself these things. In fact, when I was prepping for the episode, I'm like, what are the things? Should it be 2 things? Should it be 1 thing? Should it be 4 things? I think it's these 4 things. Let down your pride, number 1, and be a sponge. Learn to learn. Learn to be okay with not being the best in the room. Learn it's okay. I've had 55, 60-year-old men that are multi-millionaires say, come train me. I'm 33 years old, not a multi-millionaire. That probably takes a lot maybe for them. They're crushing it in their career and they're successful, and just be like, I need your help, right? Because they didn't care. They weren't prideful. They're just like, I just want this goal and I want to get there as quick as possible and as efficiently as possible. And however I have to do that, I'm doing that. Number 1. Number 2, have a bigger purpose than yourself. You already do that in your career, especially if you're in this community, 100,000%. Okay. You already do that. If you're a dad or a spouse, you already do that. You put your kids before you, hopefully, a lot. I know I do. I know my wife does. You put your spouse before you, as you should a lot of the times, okay? You already have a bigger purpose, right? And if you're not doing that, you better freaking start doing it, man to man, or, man to woman, whatever. You better start doing it, okay? But if you can make your goals and just your life's purpose more than just you, and it is hard. We are selfish individuals in nature, by nature. Oh, like I am, you are. I really do think we are. And it, it depends on how you're raised and your faith and all that stuff. I get it. But like generally we're pretty selfish humans. Like human beings are kind of selfish, right? So having something that is beyond you, You don't even have to think about it and you'll work harder. I promise you. Just please take my word. Like, I've been through a lot in my 33 years. Okay. Number 3, just understand before you set goals, just the anticipation shouldn't be like anything besides hard. And the reason I say that is people get let down in life when their expectations don't meet their reality. People get let down in life when their expectations don't meet their reality. But what if you didn't put like expectations, or your expectation was actually, this is going to be really, 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 really hard and super challenging? No, it's just going to be hard. And then if it isn't hard, if there's times where it isn't challenging, you're like, wow, this is great. But if the baseline is hard, it's actually not that bad. Why? Because your expectations met the reality. It's supposed to be hard. Oh, Stefan, was it hard? Yeah. Okay. Sweet. Right? Like, instead of saying, yeah, I hope this isn't that bad, and then it's really hard and you're like, oh, boo-hoo, this is challenging. Yeah, it was supposed to be all along. You just had skewed expectations, right? And I've had to learn that the hard way in business. Being an entrepreneur and being a small business owner, like especially the first couple of years, is just about being like kicked in the teeth all day long and solving problems. And it's so challenging, putting out fires, learning, it's hard. It's hard. It's one of the hardest things I've done. Being a dad is freaking hard. Okay. And if you're a parent, you know that, like, although it's awesome being a parent, it seems sometimes that it's more hard work than it is rewarding. A lot of the times it seems like that. Right. And maybe you're going to tell me I'm a terrible dad, but like, you know, with my son, it's like work. He smiles and it's like, oh, it's all worth it. Right. But the expectation for me, especially second kid, I was like, parenting's hard. Is it also, is it worth it? Yes, I wouldn't have had another kid, but like, parenting's hard, and it's supposed to be, because it's supposed to refine you. It's supposed to make you into a different person. It's supposed to make you more selfless and less selfish. It's supposed to teach you how to put others before yourself. It's supposed to give you more purpose in life. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be work. It's supposed to be challenging. There can be rewards to it too, but like, that is a for sure. Okay. And the fourth thing is cultivate grit. And you're going to do that by actually probably doing number 3. Okay. And doing it consistently, because just because you're like, oh, I know it's going to be challenging, doesn't mean you actually show up to the occasion. Perfect example. Everybody knows being in shape it takes a lot of work. Got to show up to the gym. You got to prep the food. But like I said in the last episode, most people aren't willing to do the boring work. And grit, to me, grit is, I mean, I'm sure there's a definition. I probably should have wrote it down, but grit to me is like being able to just white knuckle past stuff. And it's not just once or twice. It's fortitude for an extended period of time, right? Like, it's okay to grind past one hard workout, but what about for 10 years? Like 10 years, 10 years of doing the same thing. To me, that's grit. I mean, you want obviously some grit in the moment too, but like, who works harder? That's definitely a question, but who works harder for longer? That's a better question, right? And then being in constant pursuit of your goals. And they're kind of go together, but the reason that I actually combine these is because if you can't cultivate grit, you being in constant pursuit of your goals, it's going to always let you down. You're going to struggle with it, because here's the thing. Being in constant pursuit means continuously showing up day after day after day after day. If you have just an itty bitty amount of grit, good freaking luck. Good luck. It's going to be really challenging. And I'm passionate about this because just like everybody else, I have days where I am soft. I'm soft mentally. I'm like, dude, I want the most comfortable thing. I don't want to do my goals. I am lazy. And it takes grit to just pull yourself up by your bootstraps, temporarily emotionally disconnect, and go execute. And the good thing though, and just to wrap this up, the best thing about the whole thing is actually the last part, being in constant pursuit of your goals. Because think about it, okay? Think about this. If you can let down your pride, right? And you can be a sponge and you can learn, and you're like, cool, I got a vision. I know what to do. Awesome. All right. So I'm learning from you. I have these goals. Now you need to be like, why am I achieving these goals? Okay. Now then number 2, you have a purpose. Okay. I'm doing this because I want it, but also there's a mission bigger than myself. Cool. And then when you go to work towards the goals, before you even start, you're like, hey, I know this is going to be really hard. And so I need to have grit. And then the other thing, the last thing is you just don't give up. You just start doing the thing over and over and over again. And for me in my life, I feel like I have to be in constant pursuit. And you might call it obsessive, right? Some people, and even in my family, I know they love me. Some people are like, man, you need to just chill. You need to just like, when's enough? You need to be happy. Like, you're in shape, you're making good money. Like, dude, just like relax. And although they mean well, it's actually like the last thing I need to do. Because, and I'll tell you why, like for me personally, I know what I'm capable of as a person because I put in the work and because I show up and because I have grit. And I already made an agreement with myself, regardless of what my family, even my spouse. I mean, I love my wife, but even regardless of that, like I knew that what I wanted to achieve in the life that I wanted, how I wanted to be as a husband, as a dad, as a leader, as a business owner, in my faith, like all these different areas. And I knew that the thing that actually makes me the most happy, the thing that brings me the most joy in my entire life is being in constant pursuit. Like the actual journey itself. I know, cliche, but I promise you, like life is a beautiful thing. I really do think it is. And it's not just the end goal. It's not. It's the lessons along the way, guys. And so I choose to not probably ever be fully satisfied in every area of my life. And that's a hard thing to swallow. I know it gets maybe a lot of negative connotation and, oh, you're obsessive and you're never going to be happy. I'm actually really happy because like I said, I think I really do truly believe that two things can exist at the same time. I think I can love my son and my sons, but also want to be a better dad. I think I can love my wife and be super happy with where we're at, but also strive to be a better husband. I think I could be super proud of the work that I put in with my business and understood that I have accomplished a lot, but also just not be okay with where I'm at and understand that I can impact more people and I have a purpose bigger than myself. And I want to help more first responders and everyday heroes and create it. Like, I mean, yes, more financial wealth for me, but to also help these people and to realize where I am with my walk in faith. I might be like, okay, great. That's all good. But like, that's a lifelong journey. And so knowing that sometimes it's a weird feeling because you're like, man, that kind of sucks. Like I'm never really going to achieve it, but it's actually a sense of peace too. Because I think we live in a world that's like, once you get blank, you'll be happy. Once you're here, once you have this marriage, and if you've been around for a while, and I've got the house, I've got the new truck, I've got those things, and they're just a temporary high and they go away. For me, like I got it and I was like, this is awesome. 3 months later, it's like, oh, this is just my truck. Oh, this house is awesome. And I got it. And 6 months later, like, oh, it's just the house I live in. Not that I'm not grateful, but like that high goes away. And so you might say, well, this guy's just chasing a high. I'm just chasing living to my potential. That's it. And I actually enjoy the journey. And I understand that this life isn't just about me. It's actually about me serving others. So if I can be a better version of me, I also automatically will be a better husband, father, business owner. I mean, the list goes on, brother, son, all these different things. And the only way I can do that and serve others more before myself is by being in constant pursuit and not settling. Because the minute I settle, I think generally in life, people don't just like stagnate. I think you're either kind of learning and growing or you're going downhill a little bit, right? Some people, maybe you reach a pinnacle, great for you. But for me, that's how I view it. I know that's pretty deep, guys, but I thought for episode 100, why not? I talk about mindset more than I do everything else. And I hope that this resonates with one of you, right? I hope that if you are a husband or you are a dad or you have this job, that you understand that you can win in every area of your life. Now, is it hard to win equally in every area at the same time? Yeah, it's really hard. It's probably not super realistic. Like in the last 3 years, I've put 85% of my effort towards this business and other things did have to go a little more on the back burner. I've talked about the 5 buckets of life, which I'm not going to get into right now, but I had to do some distribution. But the cool thing is, if you, not to go on a tangent, but if you think of the business aspect, it's like, once my business is to a certain point, it's kind of running itself a little bit more without me. I can take my time and transfer it over here. Same thing with fitness. If you're 70 pounds overweight and you lose 70 pounds and you get to a maintenance phase, do you think you need to put as much effort into your fitness during your maintenance phase as the big weight loss phase? No, you're like, hey, I'm kind of good. I'm just going to sit here for a while and now I'm going to work on this, right? And like, that is more of what life is. But again, you are in constant pursuit, because as soon as you get your marriage better, then you got to work on this. And as soon as you work on this, then you got to work on this. Life's a freaking juggling act, and it will never stop if you actually are in pursuit of your goals. It won't. And if you're ambitious, right? If you don't actually settle. But I think that's the most exciting part of life. And over the last 3 years, owning this business has been a huge eye-opener to me on how much, going to number one, and being not prideful and being a sponge. Number one, how much growth I have still as an individual. I'm really proud of the effort I put in, but like how much further I have to go. And it's, dude, I literally got butterflies when I said that. I get excited. We live in this world where everybody seems to be struggling with depression and anxiety. And not that I don't have those things, because I do, I'm human. But I tell you right now, when I was in the military and when I was a project manager and other jobs, I didn't have this level of excitement. I didn't get pumped to wake up the next day. And the only reason I do now is because I feel that I have more purpose, and I have more vision, and it excites me that I can cultivate myself into that person and achieve those things. Okay. So, wow, a lot to unpack, right? Guys, those are the things that have helped me. Those are the things that I've realized that have completely changed and transformed my life in the past couple of years. And hopefully you can apply these towards you. So there's episode 100. Like I said in the beginning, if you could like this episode, if you felt like it was valuable, you can comment, if you could share, if you could subscribe, it means a lot. I look forward to continuing to do these, and to kind of give you a heads up, I'm really hoping the next, I don't know when we're going to do it, but I'm trying to bring on some guests. I love doing a solo podcast, but I really want to start bringing on some guests in the first responder space. After having a podcast for a couple years, I've actually talked to some people. So if you guys know anybody that you feel like would be a really good guest on the podcast or me on theirs, please let me know. I know there's some cops and some like tactical people that have podcasts. I'm really trying to connect with them. And anybody else that has like mindset, success, lifestyle type podcasts too. I'm really big on mindset, because although I am in the space of helping people get in shape, and I do know exactly what I'm doing, and I have a really, really good team, I do understand that getting in better shape is the effects is so much deeper. And that's why I'm talking about all these things, right? Like all these things, by the way, they apply to fitness. They should apply to almost every area of your life, but they apply to the work you're putting in your fitness journey too. And if you have these things, I think you'll be successful. And I know that for a fact, because I do it. Don't just listen to me. My coaches do it. Don't just listen to my coaches. But we've also done it with hundreds and hundreds of clients. And the ones that are the most successful, they emulate these 4 things. Unquestionable every time they do. So appreciate it, guys. I love you. And I'm looking forward to another 100 plus episodes. Until next time, see you later.